I want to start by going way back to the beginning. The way that you found your way to Spanish dance, and the story goes that you started in ballet, and that you kind of snuck out without, your mother didn't know, and you left ballet classes and you went to the Spanish dance classes.
I always wanted to be, artist. I used to sing, I used to act at home, I used to dance in every moment. But in Cuba, we have the lucky that girls and boys start dancing and start receiving arts classes since 4 or 5 years old. It's very, very common. But in my case, I had to start at 10 because in my family was some problems. My mother couldn't put me in art lessons until I was 10. That I used to dance at the school and sing and act. And she, of course, put me in classic ballet lesson because she used to be classic ballet dancer when she was a teenager. But in the next salon, I hear it was Spanish dance lessons. And I used to escape every day and went to the other salon. And one day that teacher, the Spanish dance teacher, came down with me, asked for my mom, and my mother said, hello, what happened? My daughter is not even your student. The teacher said, that is what you think. Your daughter has been escaping to my class since 3 months ago. Then you owe me some money. And that was my beginning. In that moment, it was really complicated in Cuba because we were crossing for an very hard economic period in Cuba that was named the special period in Cuba, and was very difficult to find fabrics or castanets, fans, mantones, shoes. Spanish dance shoes was like, what? In that moment, I want to be a Spanish dancer. And I remember that moment that my mother had to be a magic mother to find the fabric with balls and flowers. It was unthinkable in that moment in Cuba in the 90s. But that is my beginning, and that is why I'm here. There is a very funny story and very nice for me that my first teacher, the Spanish dance teacher, chose me for be the principal in a choreography. And I only was 5 months or 6 months of classes. And she asked my mom for a fabric with balls. I need to use a dress with balls. And it wasn't in the whole Cuba. It doesn't matter. My grandmother said to me, don't worry, don't be worried, you will have it. And she found a normal plain fabric, and she cut 398 balls and sewed it one by one in a fabric and did my dress.
So I want to talk a bit about Spanish dance and what all the different styles and forms that are part of it. And looking to the title of the program tonight, Que Flamenco, so obviously it's, as you're telling us very clearly, it's more than flamenco. There's so many more influences and styles. Can you tell us, how you describe Spanish dance and all the different parts that make it so exciting?
Yes, let's talk first about the Spanish dance, and after that, my style. When you say I'm a Spanish dancer, people only think on flamenco because it's the most known style, because it's the most passionate one, the most famous. It's very attractive, of course. But there is not the only style inside the Spanish dances. Inside the Spanish dances, there are 4 styles. The bolero school that was born together with the classic ballet in the same romantic period. The folk style, that are all these jotas, muñeiras, sardanas, that are danced in each town of Spain. There is thousands of them. It's impossible to know how to dance all of them. This is the second. The third style is the flamenco, that is at the same time a folk style because it came from the south of Spain, from Andalusia, but it's so powerful by itself that is by itself a style, and the stylization of the other three ones for be danced in the big sceneries. Of course, if you are a professional dancer, you can't dance the folk style like a normal folk dancer. Then that is the universe of the Spanish dances. Spain is one of the most rich cultural countries in the world and have the record for more dances for a 1 meter quadrado.
Per square feet, like more dances per square
Yes, and that is why the dance by itself is so powerful. Then my style, personally, I'm graduated of classic ballet and Spanish dances, the four style, at the same time. I catch it, the contemporary influence, because I received classic, contemporary lessons too, and of course, something that is impossible to get down, that is the Cuban influence, my character, the sensuality of the Latin American persons, and I put everything together and my contemporary vision of the performance, and there is the scene now, and I wanted to do a revolution of the flamenco, very, very contemporary. Not only a flamenco, for you can see the flamenco like an ancient style with these balls and flowers and very pure and very from the cuevas? Cave in Spain, if not something really new, something really modern, something minimal, that is so attractive for this time we are living just now. Then anything in the moment we are living, anything is pure. All is mixed with a lot of very good influence, and that is what I wanted to do.
I think for many Americans, until recently, most of our knowledge of Cuban dance was through the ballet, through the National Ballet of Cuba. And recently, we're starting to see more contemporary dance coming from Cuba. We're starting to see the type of dance that you're creating, which is innovative, taking from so many different styles, contemporary flamenco. Can you tell us what the dance scene is like in Cuba right now? What's changing and what's happening with choreography and with dancers, and how are things changing and evolving?
Yes, well, every Cuban is a dancer and is a musician. In Cuba, you can, for example, recognize someone for he can dance. It's a very particular characteristic. He can dance because it's not common. Everyone dance like a hobby or sing or paint. We are a very cultural town, really. And professionally, since the National Ballet Company, Classic Ballet Company, appeared with the support and leading for Alicia Alonso, the prima ballerina assoluta, we have had in Cuba a very recognition internationally about our dancers. Even in the United States, there is not a company, a classic ballet company, that doesn't have in their staff at least one Cuban classic ballet dancer. We are very good dancers. Our classic ballet teachers are really well recognized internationally, and our classic ballet school is really great. And after that, of course, have appeared a lot of contemporary and modern companies that has their vision of the contemporary dance, and of course have their particular way to express. Then they have another contemporary technique, inspired of course in Pina, in Lemon, wherever, and they take this experience and principally takes from the Afro-Cuban style, and Spanish dances too. There is in contemporary Cuban style and a step like this that take these hands from the Spanish dances. Then you see all the influence, cultural influence, the Spanish one, the African one, in this style too. Then the contemporary companies are putting their print too in the scene in Cuba. Yes, there is a lot of companies in Cuba that are really well recognized internationally, here in US too, that have been here in the Jacob's Pillows too. I think there is good health for the dance in Cuba, and we are doing our art there.
And you have said that Spanish dance is becoming more popular. More children want to take
yes.
it. Why do you think that is? Why is it becoming more popular?
Oh, you know what? You go for Cuba streets, and at least at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., you see a lot of little girls, 4, 5, 6 years old, walking with their skirts, black skirt and red flower, to go to Spanish dance lessons. And mothers is very, very common, I swear you. At least 2 mothers a day ask me, teacher, when you start teaching Spanish dances? And I always ask, how old is your child? She said, 2 years old. I said, please wait, okay? Wait until 5 or 6, because mother love, and all the mothers want their child learn Spanish dances. And that is very common. Thousands of girls in Cuba have receiving Spanish dance lessons. That is very, very common. And our theaters are really sell out, where you too, in the Spanish dance shows. Then it's very, very popular, and people love it.
You also have a very eclectic, very different types of music. We had, the fun Fever, 1956 American R&B song, but then we also the musical number by your musicians and your company composer Noel Gutierrez, who also composes a lot of the work for your company. Can you tell us about your relationship with him and how the music and the dance interact, and what you look for in an innovative music to match the innovative movement?
Yes, of course, the music is always a support. That is why I always want to work really next to the musicians. The flamenco needs music alive. Is a characteristic that is really needed, because, for example, the last piece you saw, me with a great dress, almost all is, some parts are improvised. Then it depends on how fast you are doing the steps, for they can play faster or not. Then it depends of you. The dancer is the music director. Then they depends on you. Then you have to train this musician with you, because they have to answer you for you are asking they to do. Then, of course, I always have had a very good relationship with the musician, and they are part. Some companies have the music and the musician like a second part of the show. And in mine, they are principal players like we. All of us are the performance. Then, of course, the music is very important for us. My compositor is very good. I always ask him for new pieces. I have another music from Juan Parrillas and Carlos Piñana that are really good compositors and musicians too. I always try this music be renovator by itself too. Not only flamenco, more contemporary. You saw Aldaval is electroacoustic music with flamenco that is very new, that is very revolutionary. You saw the first piece, the only leg one, that is very, very contemporary too, flamenco. Then that is my idea, put together everything that gives me the possibility and the freedom to show you better my ideas and my feelings.
The question is about, since you've created a new style of performance, are you also creating a style of teaching that is able to, a vocabulary, a technique?
Yes, of course. I want to explain something. 4 years ago, I started in with the company 5 years ago. But 4 years ago, I decided to open my own school for professional dancers. Until the moment, I have only professional dancers. 3 of the dancers you saw today came from my school. They receive every day classic ballet lessons, bolero school lessons, stylization style lesson and flamenco one, daily. Then my style, yes, I have created, I think, I have created a way to work the feet for the speed. That is, I'm very, very carefully about it. Every sound of every part of the shoes, the movement that sometimes are straight because are stronger and express the acting, and I want always they be acting in the choreographies. Not only dancing, the music, that is a very point, a point that I'm very focused in. They always act the choreography. I'm graduated of acting in university in Cuba, and I have a master's degree in dance. And exactly, I try every dancer not to be a machine. That lately, principally in classic ballet dance, all the teachers are focused in how long you put your hair, how tall are the leg, and how you can do your point or how many tours you do, but no, what are you expressing? You're like a swan, or what you are dying, what is the way to die, not like this. If not, why to see your lover and to see to his eyes, no, be waiting for the leg and you don't see where he is, and me not. I always try, they act the choreographies, they in the loved ones, they express the love, they touch the other one like actors. And for me, that is very important too. I think that is another point in my style. The arms, I'm very focused in the arms. Principally is this fuerza, the strength to express themselves. When you see they dancing, they are at the same times like a company, very, very similar, but you can see each personality in them.
Do you have American dance role models?
Yes, but with classic ballet companies. In US, I love the American ballet. It's my favorite. And of course, the New York City ballet is admired. In Chicago, the Joffrey Company is very good. Trisha Brown, you have had very good dancers, and principally in contemporary dances that you have been revolutionating the dance, the contemporary and modern dance in the world, and that is very, very good. And of course, in classic ballet, you have the American ballet that have had principal dancers like Jose Manuel Carreño, that is a Cuban dancer, and I'm very proud of him. That is my, the idea. But I think you here doesn't have a really good Spanish dance company. I'm sorry.
Well, tonight we do.
But I offer myself to come very often. I love your country. I'm very, very, very proud because the country that I have danced more now is United States. Yes. Since I opened my company 5 years ago, the principal theaters that have seen me and have invited me to dance have been from US, Seattle, almost all California, New York, and since Pam to be here, thanks to her to have trust on us. She saw us in a very small stage. She's like this. That is that we had in the moment to show her our work because our space, rehearsal space wasn't finished. Then we didn't have another place to show her our work, and we invite her to see us in a small stage. And she believed on us, she trusts on us, and that is why we are here. We have been working very, very hard for 1 year, and thanks, Pamela, for inviting us. Thanks to you. For me, it's an honor to be dancing in this festival. You know, this is a great, great festival that I'm sure will be a point of punto de cambio, turning point for my career and for our relationship. Thank you.